Hi, folks. This is Abel James, and thanks so much for listening to the Fat Burning Man Show, where we talk about real food and real results. Today's special guest is Vinnie Tortorich, and he's the author of Fitness Confidential. He's been one of the most requested guests we've ever had on the show, and this is definitely a really fun one, so stay tuned for that. Before we get to it, though, I wanted to say a few quick things. Unlike most of the podcasts in health, the Fat Burning Man Show is entirely listener supported. We don't have any advertisements, no sponsors, no corporations lurking in the background influencing our message whatsoever. It's just me at a microphone and now a team of people who are helping me produce the show and coordinate all of the guests and that sort of thing. So it's been really exciting. We just hit over 2 million listens in our first year and a half of having this show, which is just absolutely bananas. My goal when I set out was to reach 1 million people, and we did that in less than a year. And so now the number keeps expanding, but I don't want to stop anytime soon. And so now it's really exciting that we have a whole team of people to help me do that. So the show itself, as you well know, is 100% free, and I intend to keep it that way. 95% of all of our content is completely free. I believe in this message of health so much that I just want to get it out there and turn down a lot of business and sponsorships and affiliate opportunities from people who I think had the opportunity to cloud the message if I were to let them advertise on the show with their, sicky sweet protein bars or their ridiculous fat burning potions and all that other stuff. You guys deserve better. I don't want to deal with any of that. So I'm not going to hold a cheesy drive or anything like that, but I did set up a page over at fatburningman.com/donate. If you'd be so kind to donate as little as $1, every little bit helps. I'll be sending over 2 free gifts to you in the form of ebooks and digital downloads. And there's also an option if you want to join the Fat Burning Tribe, and basically it's a subscription type donation, just $9 a month. Then you'll also be getting a few special surprises from me as well. One of them may or may not include me leaving a message on your answering machine in my best radio voice or as a joke for your friends. I'm totally serious about this. Check out the page if you'd like to help us out. It's fatburningman.com/donate. And I put a bit more information there just in terms of why we do what we do, a little bit more information about the show and how you can help us spread the message. So I encourage you to check it out. It's fatburningman.com/donate. Thank you so much. All right, so on to the show with Vinnie. We talk about why he's America's angriest trainer, the way that he got his name in the first place, why the fitness and nutrition industry thrives on products that don't work, why exercise is a horrible way to try to lose weight, and why Jerry Seinfeld is wrong about what he orders for breakfast. All right, let's go hang out with Vinnie. All right, folks, today we're here with someone who's super special, been requested by pretty much everyone on my Twitter feed, as well as Facebook, and a lot of emails come in as well. This is Hollywood's go-to guy for fitness and weight loss, and the rich and famous. His name is Vinnie Tortorich, and he's America's angriest trainer. He's also the author of Fitness Confidential, which he definitely debunks the myths and gimmicks of the weight loss and exercise industries. How's it going, Vinnie?
Pretty good, Abel. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I finally get to meet the man. And you have a shirt on today, which is odd.
I do. It's awesome.
Because I'm always looking at you on iTunes. It's like the guy doesn't own a shirt. But if I looked like you, I wouldn't own a shirt either. I would just walk around naked all day long.
Well, it would be pretty creepy because you're in the bedroom right now. If anyone who's listening on audio can't see this, but if my shirt were off and you were in the bedroom, this would be a very awkward chat.
You know what's crazy about this? This bed this is my office at home.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This bed just came in here yesterday.
Because, how do you feel about that?
Well, the mother-in-law is coming to town. So whenever she comes to town, we turn my office into a bedroom. So literally after this podcast, I'm taking my desk out of here too to move into Serena's office with her for the next 9 or 10 days. And then everything gets turned around. That bed goes, my desk comes back in, my spinner comes back in because I exercise in my office. I do everything in my office. And, so it's crazy that way.
Yeah. It's constantly shifting. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Keeping all that straight. So I got to say, I'm a little bit nervous about this show because I've listened to your show read at least the beginning of your awesome book, and I think you'll probably bring out the worst in me. I try to keep it nice and clean, and I try to be on my best behavior, especially when I'm recording for this show. But you are America's angriest trainer, and you're a little bit rough around the edges. I think this is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's funny. Everyone thinks when they hear America's Angry, because that's a title I gave myself.
Mm-hmm.
No one said, "Oh, wait a minute. We did a survey and this guy is really angry.
Yeah.
He must be the angriest trainer." We were trying to figure out a title, and we had already written a book.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the book 2 years ago, and my co-author Dean Laurie, who's a big Hollywood writer and producer. He's done shows like Arrested Development.
Really?
Yeah, he's the big Arrested Development guy. Right now, he's doing the biggest NBC show that's coming out this fall, which is they're bringing Robin Williams back to television. Now, you weren't even born the last time Robin Williams was on television. But let me tell you this, young Abel. He, at one time, was a TV star before he became a movie star.
I remember seeing clips.
And it's funny because Dean is writing that show along with David E. Kelly and that group. But when we wrote the book, and then Hollywood said, well, listen, you've done a good job of not letting anyone outside of Hollywood know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get on the internet and do this internet thing.
Right.
And I did have a radio show way back when. So they said, there's something called podcasts. And I went, great. What's a podcast?
Yeah.
And literally, that's how it started. And they said, you have to call yourself something. And I'm not an angry guy, as you can tell. We've known each other now for 5 minutes. And
right.
You can tell I'm not angry. I'm angry because your good intentions have been stolen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly what you talk about on your show. And I love your show for that reason.
Oh, thank you.
We've all been lied to.
Yeah.
And, that's what gets to me. It's like, I've been doing this job. I've been a fitness trainer. I got my degree in the early 80s from Tulane University in fitness. And I got into the industry, and all I saw was lie after lie. Take this potion, drink that powder. You can't drink a powder, but when you mix it with water, you can.
Sure.
Take that pill, take this magic pill, buy this blaster, this master, and this, whatever.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, in the past 30 years since I've started my career, we've just gotten heavier and heavier and heavier to where it's not funny anymore.
Right.
We have a real problem, not just in this country, but we're taking our problems to the rest of the world. As humans, we're going to crumble under the weight of our own weight.
Right.
And that's why I'm angry. So I'm not really angry at people. Yeah. I'm not like Jillian Michaels, who's going to go, you're a bad person. You ate a piece of cake. I'm not that guy.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. Oh, we do 30 minutes of Jillian Michaels every chance I get. Did you see the latest on her? She did a triathlon last week. Did you see that yet?
No, I try not to pay attention too much to that stuff.
What
happened?
There's a video. She tried to do a triathlon.
Yeah.
And she had like 85-year-old women passing her. You got to go find this on the YouTube, as I like to call it.
Oh, man. All right, I got to check that out. So why is there, though, an entire industry that's thriving on all this crap that doesn't work?
Follow the money.
Yeah.
By following the money, follow the money. People want to make a quick buck. I've always said, ever since Dr. Kenneth Cooper coined the phrase aerobics. Now, the word aerobics was around in a Greek dictionary for a bazillion years. It's an ancient word.
Yeah. He
coined the phrase aerobics and, started the Cooper Clinic, aerobic this, aerobic that. Ever since then, everyone's been, trying to coin a phrase to make themselves rich. And living in Hollywood, and as you know, I work with a lot of celebrities, but when I'm not working with celebrities, I'm working with producers.
Mm.
And all producers are interested in is making money. There are people with money who want to make more money. It's what they do. And one of the ways that, people think producers just produce movies and TV shows and whatnot. Mm-hmm. They also produce commercials and infomercials. The same people, by the way.
Yeah.
And they would come to me and they would, look, Vinny, you know how to walk and talk and chew gum. You're not a bad looking guy. You're very fit. We want to do this infomercial with you. Now, all you have to do is can you see that? Take this product and tell everyone that this product is going to make them lean and strong and great and wonderful. And then I would say, well, wait, that's a cup of coffee. It won't do those things.
Yeah.
And they would go, Yeah, but we're selling the sizzle. We're not selling the steak. So I'm a guy that over the years kept getting these offers, and they would say to me, and this is the part that would drive me nuts. You can make $250,000 in one day. You just have to work for one day. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I would look at them and go, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You're willing to lie to people, and that's, I've spent my whole lifetime not getting rich and famous by sticking to my guns.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, whenever I would get calls from these shows, these reality shows, they would say, hey, you're a guy, you're personable, we can put you on a show, you just have to yell at people and tell them, to run faster and do all this stuff. I would say, no, that's not going to help them. You can't lose weight with exercise.
Yeah.
And they would look at me as if I was insane. And then they would say, well, wait a minute, don't you make your living getting people to exercise? And I'm always going, well, yeah, that's how I make my living, because I'm getting people in shape. The way you get them to lose weight is by correcting their diet.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't make any money out of telling people to correct their diet.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
I had a really interesting moment, Vinny. This was a few days ago. Someone probably saw this on Facebook, but I put up a quote from Mark Twain basically about taking a bunch of risks and that sort of thing. And then someone responded, they're just like, but sometimes you're defined by what you don't do. And what you just said is really, I think, a great example, because I'm still kind of new at this, been doing it for less than 2 years with this whole fat burning man thing. But I realized just a couple of weeks ago that I've turned down almost $1 million in sponsorships, affiliate opportunities, and all these crazy offers for advertising in the past year. And like, as a lot of people know, I have no advertising, no anything on my website or this podcast or anything. I don't want to cloud the actual message, but so many people, that's kind of just like the path that they take, especially if they have some success, right? It's just like you're still getting offers. You've been turning them down for a long time. Yeah. How do you maintain your message throughout all of that noise and nonsense?
Kind of the way you're doing it. You and I are, we're fighting and clawing our way right to the bottom of the financial scale. It's funny because I often say on my show that if Kellogg's came to me and said, Vinny, here's $1 million, tell everybody that Cheerios are a good food to eat.
Yeah.
I would have to turn down $1 million because the minute I accept that deal, I'm no better than anyone else. I'm the Jillian Michaels of the world. I'm the Jackie Warners of the world. I'm those guys. I'm the Bob Harpers of the world. You want to read some fiction, go read that book. And just like you, we're not doing that. As a matter of fact, we took on our first real sponsor about 3 months ago. It turns out Anna's my co-host on the English, Anna Vocino. Mm-hmm. We have this olive oil we love called Villa Capelli olive oil. And we kept talking about how great this olive oil was. And people started, it's a company out of Italy. It's not even really sold in the United States, but they had a website. And I guess people listened to it on the show, went to the website, started buying it. Paul Capelli calls us from Italy and says, hey, would you guys like to let me sponsor your show? And we're like, really? Wait a minute. We like olive oil.
Yeah.
And it's congruent with what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we got up, and there was our first sponsor. We push Vitamixers. We tell people it's a good blender to use, but it's kind of a douchey product because it's a $500 blender. But, we tell people to buy that. And I even tell them, when I'm telling people to buy a Vitamixer, I also tell them, listen, you could get it cheaper than on my site.
Yeah.
You go to Costco. If there's a Costco in your area, you can buy it cheaper than I can get it to you, even with my discount code. And then I'll tell them, and if you can't afford that, you could get a Ninja, or you could get yourself a NutriBullet, or any of these other products. And people appreciate hearing that.
Yeah.
I realize most people can't afford a $500 blender. I'm not going to be that douchebag that's going to go, hey, go get a $500 blender. Your life is going to change.
Right.
I'm going to give you some alternatives.
Yeah. I don't even have one of those yet.
they're super expensive. I'll send you one. Oh, well,
that would be awesome. Now we're talking.
But it's a blender. It worked just as well.
So your book is a lot of fun. Just in the beginning, I got a really good idea for how much truth there is in it, and it's hilarious. It's sad, but it's hilarious. But one of the things that came out is that you definitely love Thigh Masters. Why don't you just wrap on that a little bit?
You read that far, right? Well, it's funny when you set out to do a fitness book, and Fitness Confidential has been out for, I want to say 11 weeks now, so a little over 2.5 months. That's not 2.5 months.
Whatever.
It's been out for 2.5 months. I can't do math. Okay. The book has been out for a while, and it's been on the bestseller list on Amazon ever since it came out. And here's the crazy thing. We self-published the book because the publishing industry didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Because it goes against all of the books that, they're Jillian Michaels books. I'm using Jillian as an example.
Sure.
But it goes against all
I
of
never do that.
Yeah. We hate to use her as a prop. But as a matter of fact, my book came out at the same time as Bob Harper's book.
Okay.
His came out maybe 3 weeks before mine. The difference is he was on The View, The Chew, Good Morning America. He was on everything.
Yeah.
Guess what? My book has outsold his book the entire time because people want the truth.
Yeah.
You could be on every national program you want to be on, but guess what? At the end of the day, people want the truth. And, if you look at the reviews, I think we have over 350, 360 reviews. We still have a virtual 5-star review. And the only people that don't get it who were looking for more of a book, like, more of a how-to, more of a prescriptive. And this book is not that book. This book tells you what happens when you walk into a gym and how you can get screwed in that gym. But it doesn't stop there. It tells you how to take advantage of the gym without letting the gym take advantage of you.
Yeah.
It tells you how to take advantage of fitness equipment you can buy without the fitness equipment taking advantage of you. It tells you how to find a good trainer versus a bad trainer.
Yeah.
We don't just sit there and talk about all the bad trainers. We talk about that and then we'll go, okay, those are all bad. Here's how you find the good guy.
How do you find a good guy?
Well, it's simple.
Or gal.
Or gal. One of the biggest pieces of advice I give is go to your local high school and find a PE teacher that has a 4-year college degree. Because not only do I describe that all of these certifications are kind of BS-y, I also going to describe that the people certifying the people are full of BS.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a house of cards. It's like, well, I have certification. Well, who certified you? Well, that guy certified me. Well, who's that guy?
Yeah.
There's no government, group out there that's certifying any of these people to certify anyone else. So you have all these trainers with all these certifications and they mean nothing. I can't tell you the number of housewives I know that got bored one day and said, I think I might want to be a Pilates teacher. And guess what? 2 days later, they're a Pilates teacher.
Yeah.
It's like, well, wait a minute. How did you learn that much about the body? It took me 5 years in a medical university and you got it over a weekend.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Or you can become a trainer online in less than 2 hours.
Right.
With the certification. It's nuts.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
So how do you... I really want to talk about this, actually. We're going to shift gears a little bit because I see these things come up all the time. It's like celebrity secrets to getting a flat belly is something you see on every magazine, every special edition, every infomercial, and all these products are constantly coming out. And basically a lot of people, actually, I just did a creative live presentation and a lot of people ask me if I can explain what those are. And it's just like, you can say it in one sentence. They've known it for a long time. This is like very common knowledge, right? For a lot of celebrities that you eat fresh foods and you stay away from sugars and most carbs. And that's pretty much how you lean down. And then if you want to put on muscle, you lift weights and you focus on progression and very simple tactics, free weights, compound movements, things we've been doing for a really long time. Can you kind of comment on how these aren't secrets at all, at least in your world?
Well, you asked two very important things, and I'm going to address the celebrity part second because people like that part, and that's what I deal with all the time.
Sure.
But you mentioned the free weight thing, and one of the things I described in the book, and people find it to be very poignant. I said, we always, all of a sudden, the term core became a big deal. Like everybody was interested in their core. And I describe in a book, 20 years ago, you never heard the term core because back then, 20 and 30 years ago, people did free weights and only free weights. So think about what that means. Even if you did a standing bar curl, you would have to use your core to engage just to work that one single muscle, your bicep, little tiny muscle in your arm. Your serratus muscles would have to tighten, your rectus abdominis would have to tighten, all the muscles in your lower back. I could go on and on and on, all the way down to you're squeezing your butt when you're doing those curls. Okay, you were working your core. Now we have a machine where you just put your arm in, you work the one muscle, everything else just stays flaccid and loose. You're not working anything else. So all of a sudden, as I always said, the core is a very elusive thing. It's kind of like your lap. When you sit down, you have a lap. But when you stand up, it goes away. Well, where did it go? You had it a minute ago and you stood up and it's gone. Your core is the same way. It's like, where is your core?
Yeah. Is
it your abs? Is it your rib cage? Where is it? It's all of it. That's the first. All right, you asked about the celebrities. The reason celebrities can have a baby and get thin and have, ripped abs in 3 weeks is because they have either me or someone like me.
Yeah.
And there's only a few of us running around. There's 1,000,001 trainers in LA. There's probably 10, 12 guys and women that do, maybe even, I'm exaggerating, maybe 20 or 30. But there's not very many people who do this kind of work. But guess what? They don't just have a guy. Usually if they have a guy like me, it's not just exercise, it's lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's the diet, it's everything. Plus, those people usually have a chef cooking in their house.
Right.
And these people don't have to wake up at 5 in the morning to hit the freeway to go to work. So when you see Jennifer Aniston's workout, 10 Easy Ways, Jennifer Aniston looks like this gorgeous woman. Jennifer Aniston doesn't even know that article is being put out about her. She has a publicist who she pays $6,000 a month to say anything she can to put Jennifer on the cover of any magazine she can. So it's all smoke and mirrors. Jennifer doesn't even know what that is. Jennifer has a guy. I'm not her trainer, by the way.
Okay.
Jennifer has a guy or a woman like me, or 2 or 3, because some of them have a trainer, a Pilates teacher, a yoga instructor, a life coach, on and on and on.
Yeah.
These people are not you and me. They're not. The one celebrity I talk about openly, because I don't talk about most of my clients, but this guy is a friend of mine. People see us in public together, is Howie Mandel. He's a 58-year-old Jewish man who tells jokes, but if he took his shirt off, he's as ripped as you and me.
Yeah.
So how does he pull that off? Well, he has the opportunity to pull it off because he has me. He, all of his meals are planned. He can take me on this private jet if he wanted to. I don't get to do that too often. He could do all of that kind of stuff. Guess what? The regular person reading that magazine doesn't know what the inside of a private jet looks like. You get the,
right.
And that's why that always drives me crazy, because they're living a different life.
Yeah. What can the average Joe or Jane learn from that life and apply, even if they don't have a private jet?
Figure out a way to get a private jet. It is kind of cool to be honest.
Friend with a private jet.
Yeah, you got to know somebody with a private. The biggest thing I think people can do is make time for exercise and make time to eat right.
Yeah.
This whole notion of, and I hear this all the time because I have regular clients too, or as I call them, civvies or civilians. And they'll say, oh, I had to eat fast food because I didn't have time to cook. Well, you know what? That's Trader Joe's and companies like this. Trader Joe's, I don't know if you guys have them in Texas yet, but we've always had them out here in California.
Yeah.
It's like Whole Foods, but you don't pay Whole Foods prices.
Right.
They're planned meals. You could buy meat that's flash frozen that you could just come home and thaw out and cook right away. And this stuff is as good or as fresh meat.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing with shrimp or scallops. We do this all the time. I don't want to hear that all you had time was to go get your kid Taco Bell. It's not right.
Right.
We always have time.
Yeah.
We have time-saving devices. We have microwaves. My mom never had a microwave.
Mm-hmm.
My mom worked a full-time job and still got meals on the table.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about priorities. And a lot of people ask me, well, how do you, I mean, with all the things that you do, how do you have time for breakfast? Or I'm a big fan of breakfast for lunch. And it's like, it takes you 2 to 3 minutes to scramble eggs. It doesn't matter if it's a whole family or not. It's like, that's the way that I was raised. Every morning before school, Dad would usually make a scrambled egg sandwich type thing that we could take on the road. I'm not a big fan of sandwiches these days, but I mean, it took him literally like 5 minutes to put that stuff together. We were always like a half an hour late anyway. And it's just, it's a matter of, it doesn't have to be Taco Bell. It could be a salad that you like pull out, that you make, once every 3 days, which is what I did when I was a bachelor. And you just like pull it out of the fridge and you like throw some on a plate with some nuts or something. I mean, it's a piece of cake.
It's crazy. I talk about my grandparents and my great-grandparents, who I had the opportunity to know. They all came from Italy.
Yeah.
And I grew up in southern Louisiana, which is now the fattest state in the Union. I don't know. We finally beat Mississippi at something. And, I grew up down there, and they had eggs every morning and bacon for breakfast. There was always meat for lunch. Bread was around, but it wasn't always a big thing. Mm-hmm. There was always chicken stew or beef stew at night. There was always a lot of broccoli hanging around, a lot of, we had a huge vegetable garden.
Yeah.
And as I describe in Fitness Confidential, you know how much weight these people have to lose? The answer is none, because they never gained weight. They went to the grave lean.
Yeah.
And I eat the same way. This morning for breakfast, I had the same breakfast I had every morning for the past 5 years. I had 4 egg yolks with 3 egg whites. So instead of an egg white omelet, I have an egg yellow omelet.
Yeah.
With an extra yolk thrown in for good measure.
Right.
Is my cholesterol going crazy? No.
Yeah.
Cholesterol is perfectly normal. My triglycerides are way down. I'm a healthy man.
Yeah. That's the way to do it. It was interesting. I was watching last night, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, Jerry Seinfeld's new web show. Really, really funny. But I saw that he ordered with Ricky Gervais, I think it was. He ordered like 2 yolks or 2 full eggs and then 2 extra egg whites. Let's talk a little bit about the yolks versus the whites debate, because I know that's one that you probably have some opinions about. I sure do. What do you think?
I think if you want to have any part of the egg, have the yolk.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. Yeah. I agree. But I think if you want to have an egg, really.
Yeah. Number one, the yolk is the best tasting part. Number 2, any and all nutrition is in the yolk.
Yeah.
That's the part of the embryo that becomes the chicken.
Right.
The rest of it, everything else is just embryonic fluid. So you can do it either way.
So why are people still going after all the whites?
Because it's what's out there. It's what's in the media. It's just like when you hear people talk about, hey, it's nutritious, it's low fat. Those words are synonymous. You think of a cereal. You don't hear cereal. You hear 8 essential iron and vitamins. It's like, what? Wait, no. It's crap. It's grains and sugar. It's not 8 essential anything. And they even have to add the word in fortified, because it's not even in there. They have to put it in there. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? If you're that interested in those 8 vitamins and iron, go take a pill. Go take a vitamin pill. Or how about this? Go jump outside and get in the sun for 5 minutes. You'll get the vitamin D you need.
Right.
So that whole, thing of we take low fat as being healthy, because for the past 30 years, we've heard, hey, heart healthy, low fat. Want to lose weight, low fat. As I describe in Fitness Confidential, people talk about, fat being the problem. The only problem I have with the term fat is that it's called fat.
Yeah, me too.
If it's called fat energy, then everybody go, oh my God, I need to go eat some energy. Right. And then it would be, yay, we're all cool, right? But it's called fat, which is what we get. It's fat, but we don't get fat from fat. I describe in Fitness Confidential that you can almost look at the Teflon pan as being a bigger contributor to us getting fat by giving us low-fat meals than you can any fattening product out there. We took fat out of we used to put butter and oil in the pan and cook things. Once we had Teflon, guess what? We didn't need that anymore.
Yeah.
And then we got fat.
And everything tastes like cardboard.
Yeah. Everything tastes like crap.
So why did the USA push carbs on us then? Why is it still pushing carbs on us?
It was interesting because at the time, there were two studies. I think Gary Taubes and I were having this conversation. Do you know, are you familiar with Gary?
Yeah, he's been on the show.
Yeah, he's a great guy, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he's awesome.
I want to get him back. I can have him back 5 times on my show. It wouldn't be too much.
Yeah.
But
he's polarizing, but he's brilliant, and he's doing really good work at New Sea.
He is. Well, most of us get polarizing for doing this kind of work. But,
yeah.
We were talking about it. And, at the time, and I think Dr. Lustig talks a little bit about this. Mm-hmm. At the time, we were dealing with, in late 60s, early 70s, we had these studies come out. One showed where higher fat was the way to go, and one showed that, higher carbohydrates, a grain-based diet was the way to go. Mm-hmm. And the grain-based diet won out. It was almost like the government said, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
And that's what they went with. And we built a pyramid on it. Hey, the base of our pyramid is all grains and sugar. And then right here at the top, we want you to have just a little bit of fat. Well, if you turn that pyramid over, you would have the correct answer.
Right.
Nobody would be fat.
Yeah.
You're 29, so you don't remember this, but when I grew up in a small town in Louisiana, we had one fat guy in the whole town,
right,
of 6,000 people.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, when I was 5 years old, his name was Mr. Lemon. He owned Lemon's department store. And I would walk into Lemon's department store and just marvel at the size of this human being.
Yeah.
He was, in my eyes, wider than he was tall. Mm-hmm. He looked like something from Aesop's Fables. And I would look at this guy and go, wow, look at that. I didn't know what fat meant. I just knew that he was huge.
Yeah.
In today's world, he was probably 260, 270.
Really?
In today's world, people would not even consider him fat.
No. That's normal today. It's really interesting. I was watching, this came up on some social media thing too. There was a picture of a circus freak from like the turn of the century.
Yeah.
And he was probably about the same size as what you're talking about. And this is a person who was like paid for his time just to like be there and look fat. And now he's slimmer than a lot of the people walking around this country and now a lot of other countries. But that's not even the issue. It's not like, how do you lose weight? That was never a problem because, like you said, people didn't gain weight. So number one, how can people actually, if they are starting out,
right,
how do they actually lose weight? Let's start there. And then we can talk about maintenance after that. Okay.
The first thing is, when people start thinking about losing weight, for some reason, and I don't know why, I think it happens to me too, but I've never thought about losing weight except for that one time after college, one time at band camp, one time after college football, when I had to lose a few pounds. I did exactly what everyone else does. I go, I need to start running and riding a bicycle. And that's what I did. But I also started correcting my diet. So my advice is diet first, exercise second, because as I tell people, exercise is a terrible way to try to lose weight. And that's what I do for a living. I make people exercise. It's not a good way to lose weight. So look at your diet first. And the first thing you want to do is cut out any excess sugar. Now, will you get rid of all sugar? No. If you put a salad dressing, I don't use salad dressings from the store. We use oil and vinegar.
Yep.
But if you use that, there's going to be a little sugar in that. If you use ketchup, which I wouldn't recommend, sugar. But if you just cut out all the confections, just cut out any extra sugar, great place to start. Number two, and equally as important, grains have to go. If you want to lose weight, you got to lose grains. If you're 400 pounds and you want to get down to 200 pounds, you got to cut the grains.
Can you define grains?
Yeah. Wheat, corn, rice. But if you're going to have any of the three, you can have rice and quinoa. We use the term F quinoa on my show. As a matter of fact, they hashtag it now with the actual word. The reason being is, for some reason, people, I'll say, look, you have to get off grains, and they'll look at me and they'll go, well, what about quinoa?
Yeah.
Quinoa is a grain too.
Right.
And I know what you're probably getting at here, because I know you talk a lot about paleo diets. Beans. I'm guessing you're thinking beans. if you need to lose a lot of weight, beans are not going to be your friend. But I deal with a lot of vegans because I'm in Hollywood.
Sure.
And when you deal with vegans, a lot of times you got to put something in. They need to eat something.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell them to eat nothing. And especially if they want to run a triathlon or go run a marathon, they need something in their diet besides a leaf.
30 pounds of fruit a day, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear my thing on that?
I did.
Can you believe Sanjay Gupta? Can we talk here for a minute?
Go for it. Yeah.
You don't have to. I'll do it, and then you can just laugh, and that'll be knowing enough.
It's safer that way.
Did you see the video of Sanjay Gupta?
No, I just heard you talking about it.
Okay, he's got this guy on, and Sanjay Gupta's. They asked him to be the Surgeon General at one time, but he decided to go be a movie star, be on television, whatever. He's got this guy who's claiming there's a chyron running under the video of these two sitting at the desk at CNN, and it says, Joe Schmo eats 30 pounds of fruit a day. And I'm like, okay, Sanjay, when are you going to actually ask him about this? Because this guy, and the guy's going, yeah, Sanjay, I used to be a fat beast, but I started doing this, and I can run a marathon in 2:30. I mean, I'm almost a world champion at marathon. And Sanjay Gupta's going, wow, and you did it by eating 30 pounds of fruit. Wow, that's amazing. You are an amazing human. I said, come on, Sanjay, asking about, I need to hear it.
Yeah.
So I did the math because I've owned a horse, and you live in Texas, so I think you guys actually use them for transportation.
That's true.
As you know, a horse eats about 2 pounds of food per 100 pounds of body weight. And my horse weighed 1,100 pounds. So my horse in a 24-hour period would eat 22 pounds of food. This guy, this 160-pound man, was claiming to eat 30 pounds of food in the same 24 hours. And I'm sitting there going, come on, guy, that was almost a Surgeon General. Ask the question that I'm wondering, and I think everybody else might be wondering, but he never did. He just let it. Wow, you're an amazing human being. You mean you eat 30 pounds of fruit a day? Wow, that's amazing. And your heart is really healthy, right? I said, come on, Sanjay, anything. Give me anything. But he wouldn't do it.
It's just absolutely preposterous. If you take a step back, I mean, we're so desensitized to all of these flashy things and numbers and metrics and all that stuff, that if you just take a step back and think about that, you're gaining 30 pounds a day. Like, there's no way that you could exercise anything like that off. Even, I mean, it's...
My colon would drop out of my body if I tried to eat. Think about that.
It's
like your colon would just fall out of your ass. It would just be like, I quit. On one day. And this guy's claiming, let's do the math here. All right, so we're talking 30 pounds a day. Let's see, I got a calculator here. Hang on just a second here.
All right. You get your glasses on.
As Jethro used to say, I'm going to do some ciphering here.
Those are Hollywood glasses right there.
Yeah, they're women's glasses, but it's all I have right here. So, all right, let's see. 30 pounds of food times 365. Okay. This guy's eating 11,000 pounds of food.
Of fruit.
Of fruit. You know how much fiber that is? You have any idea how much fiber that is?
And, like, is that a good idea? Even if that were possible, like, why in the world would you ever do that? Well, like, people complain about how expensive eating real food is, eating paleo and that sort of thing. It's like, do you know how much 30 pounds of fruit costs? And not to mention, like, the environmental significance of all of this, which usually a lot of people just kind of gloss over or maybe think about later. They're just like, oh, there's no way that paleo people or real food or sustainable farming could work and feed the world. But like each person eating 30 pounds of fruit a day. First of all, just in gas, we would not have an ozone layer. Yeah, that's not a local diet. That's not a local. Well, I did a spreecast a while back. And I didn't know the guy's name, but there's this guy he eats 30 bananas a day. This guy in Australia. And he apparently, the Spreecast made it to him. It was me, Ben Greenfield, and Rich Roll, vegan guy. And I talked about how ludicrous it was that this guy is claiming to eat 30 bananas a day and thinking this is healthy. Mm-hmm. Well, he decided to do
a 20-minute video on me talking
That's what
about,
he does.
Yeah, and by the way, you know what he did for me? He
No.
made me very popular.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, you should try to get this guy to talk about you because my podcast went through the roof.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So whatever you do, try to get Durian Ryder to hate you. It's a great move.
I could see that working out well for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much like underlying drama in this community. I'm sure people just love it. It's probably not that much different than a mini Hollywood in a lot of ways.
I think
Just as
what
many
we're doing here, do you feel like
crazy
we're at the ground floor of something here with all this podcasting and all this?
You know, quite honestly, I think that, and you're already seeing it going in this direction, 5 years from now, like
Yeah.
you said, going on CNN, the Today Show, all this other stuff, you're going to see that podcasts are more important. They already are. Like, people would rather come on my show because they know that they get more attention. The people actually are listening. They care. They're open to ideas, as opposed to just like, you know, someone who's at work watching someone on the Today Show for a few minutes. I think that right now we're onto something that is the future, like actually spreading the truth instead of going through all these gatekeepers who are preventing the truth from coming out.
Well, you know, Hoda Kotb and all the, you know, they have to play so clean, you know,
Yeah.
and they're so homogenized. And people started calling me the Howard Stern of podcasting. I didn't say, and
I like that.
think they do that because I say bad word, you know, I use
Sure.
the F word, the whole thing. But, you know, it's like, wow, I wish I was like that guy. You know, I wish, you know, more of us, but you're doing it. I'm doing it. We're all doing this. And I was telling somebody, yeah, there was some drama going on behind me because when you start to get popular, then, you know, people start to get upset.
Right.
And I called the guy and I said, you know, a rising tide raises all boats. So, you know, we should be friends here. And
Yeah.
in other words, I'm on your show. I want you to come on my show. I want my people to find you also. You know, it's the way it all works. I mean, who are we battling against? We can't battle against ourselves.
Right.
What's that?
A lot of people are tempted though.
But why? I mean, what does that do for anyone at the end of the day?
Yeah. It's silly. I try to dodge all that. That's why I just like, I'm on my show and like I'm on other people's shows. But aside from that, I try not to be on the computer or like participate in forums or whatever, except for, you know, our own coaching stuff and whatever. But it's just, there's so much drama that is not good for anyone. And it's just like you said, we're all fighting the same fight. We might, like, even vegans versus paleo, it's like your diet is 70% the same if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Like, you're just cutting out eggs and meat. That's
You
one of
know,
the biggest differences.
that's what someone said to me a while back. They said, wow, you really figured it out. And I went, what are you talking about? He goes, well, you're not vegan and you're not paleo, but both groups seem to like you.
Yeah.
You really, I say, no, I didn't figure out anything. It's just, they're doing their thing. I'm doing my thing.
Right.
We're all doing our thing.
Yeah.
And guess what? Nobody's really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a happy middle ground there where we can all live.
Totally.
Yeah?
Well, we're almost up on time. I can't believe it. But I would love to have you back on. We could be talking all day. Before we go, why don't we talk about very quickly, how do people, once they lose weight, maintain? And then we can talk about your book and where people can find it.
You know, I always say the easiest thing in the world to do is lose weight. The hardest thing in the world to do is keep it off.
Yeah.
It all starts at the beginning. Whenever someone says to me, how long is it going to take me to lose this weight? In their mind, they've already set themselves up for failure.
Yeah.
So it's not about a diet. It's about a lifestyle change. It's about a paradigm shift.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of being lean and healthy. If you're thinking about it, you know, if there's a means to an end, if, you know, once I reach that goal line, I'm not going to go for another touchdown, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
It's not a short-term thing. Whenever you decide to lose weight, you got to decide that this is the way I'm going to live. If you don't make that decision, you're going to yo-yo down and come right back up, and it's going to be the same thing all over again.
I love that lifestyle. It's the mental, environmental adjustment. That's my wheelhouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So what about your book? Tell people a little bit about it. I've had a lot of fun reading it. I can't wait to get the full copy. And
we thought you had a full copy.
That's all right.
You can get it.
I get like a half dozen books a week anyway showing up at my doorstep. I have plenty of reading materials, but I can't wait to read yours. It really resonated with me when I started reading it.
Well, I think you're going to love it because it's no BS all the way through.
Yeah.
You could get it several ways. You could go to any of the media, internet media outlets. You could go to iTunes. You could go to Amazon is the biggest seller of books.
Yeah.
You could get it in Kindle. You could get it in iBooks. You could get it in all the formats that you could possibly get it in. This book is available. Also, you could get a paper copy from Amazon. And how long will it be before this podcast comes out?
A couple weeks.
Okay. By the time this comes out later this week, the audio comes out. And the audio actually has bonus content.
Cool.
That wasn't in the original book, because I go off the page and do some of the stuff I do in my podcast. I'll expound on subjects. And there's 5 to 7 pages that we cut out of the book that we left in the audio book. And also my co-writer, Dean Laurie, comes in at the end, and we do a little 15-minute back and forth.
Nice.
So you really get some bang for the buck in the audio book that's not out yet. But that's going to be on Amazon, iTunes, everywhere an Audible book can be bought, it will be available.
I love it. Awesome. Well, Vinnie, thank you so much for coming on. This was a blast, and I can't wait to do it again. Thanks for having me. And please tell me, I want you to say it on mic, tell me you'll come on to the Angriest Trainer podcast. I'm coming on, baby. I'm coming on. That's what I like to hear. All right. Thanks so much, Vinnie. We'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks, man.